You know Graybar for electrical parts, but there's one more thing you may not be thinking of us for that can help maximize your next project's total value. Our pre-project planning services are designed to help you win the bid, save on labor costs, and keep your installers productive across your entire build. The sooner you call us, the better. Because when we're there from the beginning, we can anticipate your needs and help you solve problems before they become problems. Yep, Graybar does that.
Happy New Year from your friendly neighborhood minor league baseball podcast. 2024 has arrived, and we're set to give you some resolutions and talk about what's coming up this year, and probably just go off on a whole bunch of random tangents and make fun of each other and do all the things you've come to know and love and expect as we embark on our 9th year of doing the show before the show podcast. God, it's wild. Tyler Munn, Benjamin Hill, Sam Dykstra, Your neighborhood trio has returned. The triumvirate has returned. Gents, what's going on?
Hi, Tyler. Happy New Year. Can we still say that?
Samuel.
Is Larry David just going to come on this podcast and tell us we can't say that anymore?
It's only the 4th. I feel like we can get away with it. I feel like for the first week, you're okay.
Especially when it is a first episode of
right. It's it's our first interaction of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally fair. That's how I believe. That's how I look at it. The first week back in the office or to whatever constitutes a greater sense of normalcy in your life, that first week back through the weekend is all good. And you know what? Here's the thing. People can do whatever they want. they really can. So if you want to say the new year on January 31st, February 6th, March 11th, go for it.
I once got Happy New Year in March. I'm assuming that he adopted that for a Curb episode also, right? There was a Seinfeld episode where Jerry makes that joke, and I have a vague recollection of a Curb episode with the same.
Yes, there's a clip that went around, I believe, yesterday.
Okay.
Like Larry David has decreed this is the last day you can do it. And listen, I love Larry David. I wish him all the best, especially in this year. It'll be the last season of Curb.
Yeah, the last season of Curb.
Yeah, if I was living my life according to Larry David rules, I would be a lot more manic and have a lot less hair. So
that's true. I mean, some of us we're just fighting to keep whatever we're clinging to some scraps of hair that we got, Sam. So we can't all have Sam Dykstra and Benjamin Hill hair. Goodness gracious.
I'm sorry.
My resolution is to be better about not envying hair. Well, speaking of resolutions, that's where we're headed on this week's episode of the Show Before the Show podcast. As with the 2024 minor league baseball season coming up quick, we're going to give you our resolutions for not just the minor league baseball season, but things about minor league baseball that we would like to see in this new year. We're going to hear from MILB and MLB Pipeline staff members. We'll also hear from some fans, at least the ones who submitted appropriate responses. Gents, Sam, I know that we are like the world's biggest patrons of the random.org order generator. So we're gonna dive in. We're gonna do this as a roundtable. The three of us will give one of our resolutions. Then we'll hear from a minor league staff member or an MLB Pipeline staff member who will give us theirs, and we're going to keep that going. Let's fire it off, Sam.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit different than what we've done some of our shows recently, where it's been all of us giving our entire picks. Last episode we had, it was giving everything we were thankful for in the year, and then Gratitude Guys was all of us focused on one point. This is just going to be one resolution or goal for 2024 at a time. I have the random.org. It's surprisingly didn't autocomplete. You would think, considering we are keeping this business afloat, we would have done that. But
yeah, what's that all about?
Our 3 names are entered. Part 2 is go, hit randomize. Our order will be Tyler, you are going first.
Wow.
I feel like that's the first time random.org has decided that. It will go Tyler, Ben, and then me. And then we'll pivot to one of our coworkers.
Okay.
Yeah, TBS.
TBS. There we go.
Yeah,
easy to remember.
Just like an Atlanta Braves game in the 80s and 90s.
All right, guys. Well, I'm going to kick things off on this week's episode of the show before the show with my resolution for 2024, which is that my first resolution, which is that we find more cool and inventive places to play minor league baseball games, as we have done over the last couple of seasons. The Field of Dreams game a couple of years ago, Rickwood Field will play host to not only a minor league game, but a major league game this year. And I say, let's not stop there, man. There are still a handful of Negro Leagues parks that exist across the country, Rickwood Field obviously being one of them. But Hamtramck, Michigan, which is a place that I never know how to pronounce. Hamtramck, how do you say that, Ben? I feel like you know the pronunciation of that.
I should, but I don't. Isn't it
Yeah, I
spelled
don't either.
Hamtranck or something?
CK, yeah. Hamtramck. We need a Michigander to weigh in on that. But that stadium is still standing, built in 1930. Hinchcliffe Stadium in Paterson, New Jersey, which was recently restored and now is playing host to an independent league team, as well as to area high school athletics in Paterson, New Jersey. Those places need, I feel like we need some more games there. Let's send some minor league teams to some of these cool places. I know that we've got, teams that are at least close enough to the Detroit area and to Paterson, New Jersey. Let's make that happen. That's one thing I want to see in 2024 is more minor league games and more cool random old venues. One thing that I would really love to see is in Indianapolis, there is a place that was once a ballpark. Historic Busch Stadium that is now an apartment building. Busch Stadium, they kept the playing surface for historic Busch Stadium, and they renovated the former ballpark into what are called stadium lofts. Just play a game on that field. I think it'd be awesome. The only people who could go, I guess, would be like the people who live in the lofts and like their friends. I think that'd be sweet. Play a game there. I think it'd be awesome.
That reminds me so much of, what was it, MVP baseball?
Yes.
Triple play baseball?
Triple play baseball.
2000s. Yeah. Where you would just like play in a living room.
Yeah, you just be in somebody's room like it was Andy from Toy Story.
Exactly.
Terrific. Yeah, man. I think
Or just backyard baseball. It would just be backyard baseball in reality.
Pretty much. So that's my first one. Let's have some more games and some more fun places. I think that'll be a bunch of fun. Gents, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I like that idea a lot. Not to throw cold water on it.
Here we go, old Buzz
killing. So much of it comes down to the rather stringent facility standards.
Right.
So I love thinking about all the great places that could play, but then the amount of investment, both from the team, Major League Baseball, and in a lot of cases, the community in which this place is located is a tremendous cost, and I think it's worth the cost in a lot of cases. But it makes the actual reality of it fairly limited. But I am a little more challenging on board with what you're saying. And we're going to see it at Rickwood this year. And like you said, we saw it at Field of Dreams, and it's just great for baseball, great for minor league baseball, and a great way to celebrate history and just create a marquee event. And I think minor league baseball needs that just as much as any other sport.
Yeah, I mean,
we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I mean, minor league baseball and Major League Baseball have the history that no other sport can lean into the same way. And the embrace of that has been very cool over recent years. Sorry, Sam, I cut you off.
No, I just, kind of pivoting off what Ben is saying, just keeping those gears turning. I mean, we might not necessarily get another one this year, and then might take some investment, but let's get some announcements that those investments are being made. The excitement around Rickwood, and we'll hear more about that later from one of our coworkers, has been huge and very exciting. And I know the people of Birmingham are very excited for an MLB level event to come there and a minor league level event to come there beyond just the Barons. Other communities are starved for that stuff. So let's keep those gears turning. Let's keep that investment going. And maybe even if it's just an announcement that a couple more big games are coming in 2025, that would be tremendous to keep that momentum moving.
I like it. All right, random.org. Who we got up next?
I believe it's the B part of the TBS equation, which would be me, Ben Hill, for those keeping score at home. I'm going to start with a goal. It's something, it involves all three of us, and it's something we've talked about in the past. So I want to get the discussion going again, say it's an actual goal, is to do a on-location show before the show podcast episode at a minor league ballpark We could all do, our separate interviews, based on our interests and areas of expertise as different segments, record an episode, maybe on the concourse or, somewhere in the ballpark. Um, Obviously we can only probably do this once. So the amount of people who could attend who listen to the show would probably be limited, but do it in a place where we're inviting other people to show up, have a little meetup with whoever can show up, whether that's two people or, thinking big picture, at least 2,000, and really do it
at a bare minimum.
At the bare
we
minimum.
get less than 2,000. I'm going to be very angry with whoever organizes this event. Just want you all to know.
So it brings the question, like, where do we do this? When do we do this? And it's why we have to start talking about it now, thinking about it now. But we all travel for our jobs in various capacities. And if there's just some place that we can link up and make it a thing and do it on location, I think it'd be great for this podcast. And yeah, great to get whoever can show up to it. Great to meet people and maybe include them in the episode as well, depending where it is. So if you have suggestions, you, the listener, where we should go, give us a pitch, because I think sometimes we just need a nudge. We're like, oh, this person cared enough to write us an email or, get in touch in some way. All right, we got to do it now. We're obligated.
And we can forward that to our bosses, being like, see, there is the demand out there.
This is a binding contract, a
Exactly.
binding social contract.
Yeah. Once it's written in email ink, I mean, that's permanent.
Exactly. That holds up in court.
Yeah. So I would love that. I mean, we've been talking about doing that for years.
We have been.
I kind of put the brakes on that. And 2021 travel was a little different. 2022 was getting our feet back under us. 2023 was full go. Now let's extend that. And
there needs to be a team's resolution to host the show before the show night. How's nobody done that yet?
Yeah, I mean, if you work for a minor league baseball team, I know what you do out there. I mean, there you go. That pretty much would seal the deal. First team to pitch us on show before the show night.
We could field proposals like it's an episode of Shark Tank. Like we could get a whole bunch of teams in, flinging their various ideas at us. We've already got a seasoned pro and on-field between inning competitions in Ben Hill. Like we know the ropes. We know the ropes of this stuff.
Yeah, and we'll say yes to almost everything.
That is our pitch to you, the team out there that wants us to show up. We will say yes to everything. Almost everything.
Almost everything.
Yeah. Almost.
Got to have a little qualifier in there just in case.
You never know.
No.
Yeah.
All right, Sam, you're up.
All right. Well, I'm gonna kind of go, I think, chronologically here. But I'm gonna start with the spring breakout that is coming to spring training this spring from March 14th to March 17th. We talked about it in the past. It's a new initiative for Major League Baseball, putting prospects center stage in the middle of spring training. Because that's typically a time of the year where things kind of slow down. The excitement of pitchers and catchers reporting wears off. The Grapefruit League and Cactus League guys are kind of still rotating through. They're just getting their reps. Let's inject a little excitement here. And I think if we can get the spring breakout off to a strong start, some real interest, some real key matchups, like we talked about in the past, with the potential for Jackson Holiday to go against Paul Skeens. The two Chicago teams are matching up. Let's get Cade Horton against Colson Montgomery. If this thing starts out on a real strong foot, it's possible for expansion. Hearing from execs across the league, some people want it to be a tournament, and I would love it for it to be a tournament. Not necessarily a spring breakout thing, but maybe an in-season tournament of some way. Kind of like what the NBA is doing. Who knows? Like the potential for this is limitless. But let's get off to a strong start. Let's really lean into this thing and make it the best thing we can be. Cover it really well. I'm excited to potentially be down there for a couple of these games, see it for myself in person. But the more interest that it gets, the bigger it can become. And I think this is the start of something really special. So I would love to see Spring Breakout become a big deal in its first inaugural edition.
I like that idea. The fact that the NBA did something so unorthodox and so outside the box. I wasn't a huge fan of the in-season tournament, but I know a lot of people were. Well, I shouldn't say that. I was fine with the tournament, but the idea that you cheapen the value of your own championship by, like letting the Lakers hang a banner for winning this inconsequential thing. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But what it did do, I think, was it opened people's eyes to like, oh yeah, there is room for creativity in sports to do fun stuff like this. And I like that idea. So Sam, a good one. Okay. Now we head to a staff member from our cohort of colleagues. Who are we going with first? How are we leading this off? Who's got the chops to bat lead off from the staff?
Yeah, well, this one I think pivots pretty nicely from what you were talking about, Tyler. And it's somebody who has been on the show before. So let's bring a familiar voice on here first. Here is MLB Pipeline and MILB.com's own Kelsey Hennigan.
Hey everyone, Kelsey Hennigan here. In 2024, I am most looking forward to the games to be played at Rickwood Field. If you're not familiar, Rickwood Field is the oldest playable professional ballpark in the world, and it was home to the Birmingham Black Barons of the Negro Leagues. There's so much history to celebrate in this park, both of Black baseball and Alabama baseball history. 17-year-old Alabama native Willie Mays played there, and he will be at the center of many of this year's festivities. Legends like Jackie Robinson, Ernie Banks, Babe Ruth, Roberto Clemente, and so many more played in these hallowed grounds. For the better part of the last 30 years, the Birmingham Barons have played a throwback game at the park called the Rickwood Classic, and this year it's getting a big league twist with the Major League Giants and Cardinals also taking part of a new version of this event. This is a chance to continue the connection between MLB and MILB that was forged at the Field of Dreams events. That 2022 iteration was such a wonderful example of bringing the major league and minor league stages together. And that's something that I'm really excited about as MLB and MILB work closer together, is having more events where there's both an MLB and MILB component to it. This year, the White Sox AA club, the Birmingham Barons, will be playing against the Rays affiliate Montgomery Biscuits. They'll be at Rickwood on June 18th. The Major League game will be on June 20th. And no matter which prospects will be in that minor league game, I'm sure it'll be a special time seeing everyone in the throwback uniforms, seeing the old school grandstands and the scoreboards. It's just a really special sight, so I'm excited for it.
So throughout the show, we will be hearing from our MILB and MLB Pipeline colleagues, their resolutions for 2024. And that brings us back to me as I don't know how much this one can be considered a resolution, but it is a resolution, I guess, for an organization more than it is for minor league baseball at large. But my second 2024 resolution is for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim to finally put something together that gets Mike Trout into the postseason from a prospect and building from within platform. This has been a obviously very rough decade plus now for Angels fans. You lose Shohei Ohtani over the offseason. Right now the Angels have one top 100 prospect coming out of 2023. I just who doesn't want to see that happen for Mike Trout? And it would be so much more gratifying as a baseball fan if Angels fans got to experience it from oh yeah, look at all these guys we were able to bring along to help Mike Trout into the postseason, get this thing to the next step. I don't know how likely that is that it's going to happen, but that's my second minor league baseball resolution for 2024. Just do something right, Angels. Come on.
I mean, I do like that. And I'm sure it would generate all sorts of Patrick Ewing theories about Shohei Ohtani of you let go of your superstar and you immediately bounce back. You talk about building from a farm system point of view. Nolan Shanuel was their first round pick last year. Got to the majors quicker than anybody else in that draft class, was just saying something, faster than Wyatt Langford, faster than Dylan Cruz, faster than Paul Skeens. So that was interesting from that point of view. He'll probably graduate pretty quickly, but there are some interesting names underneath there. Caden Dana, Nelson Rada. I think Nelson Rada has a chance to be a top 100 prospect at some point this year. Just an 18-year-old outfielder already with some single A experience. The Angels are also drafting 8th overall, and given their recent history, whoever they draft there, you might think we'll get to the majors pretty quick because they're not unwilling to push guys if they think they're ready. Shanuel looked it, had that on base streak that I believe is still ongoing heading into the offseason. So there's some interesting pieces. Are they going to do it? I don't know. It would certainly come as a surprise, but like you said, there should be a pitch or a movement in Anaheim to get Mike Trout to the playoffs again.
Just do something right.
Yeah. I like the concept anyways. It's optimistic in a good way.
They do also have a guy who I'm very excited to see hopefully make it to the big league level with a lot of, consistency and hype. He did pitch in 12 games in a relief role last year, but Ben Joyce, who is currently ranked as their number 7 prospect, he threw 105 in college at JUCO. Now, granted, he had Tommy John after that. Then he went to Tennessee. Still very good. He was a 3rd-round pick in 2022. But, I want to see a dude throw 105. Let's just
and he has one of my favorite nicknames in all minor league baseball, the volunteer fireman.
I know. That's outstanding. The volunteer fireman, it's got a Tennessee tie. It's got a reliever tie. I like it. So anyway, Angels fans, I didn't mean to just pile on. Talk about catching a stray. Oh, New Year's resolutions. Do something good, Angels. All right, Ben, you're up.
I am up. I'm going to say something here that I've said in the past, and it's not a big thing. It's not revolutionary, but a goal for me this year that I said last year that I didn't really do as good of a job as I thought is to, up my game on social media, but particularly Instagram. I think I was such a creature of Twitter for so many years, and it just appealed to me more, inherently, just the use of words. But I feel like I'm leaving a lot on the table, especially with Instagram, with going live, maybe just opening old packs of baseball cards I have in my house, sharing, random minor league souvenirs I find in a box in my closet. Of course, all the road trip content, I do share a lot more on Instagram when I'm on the road. But, really going through and taking the time to put together, reels of a certain visit or, to put a, reel of highlights, food highlights together. I just feel as the years go on, I'm leaving kind of quite a large audience underserved in terms of growing my quote unquote brand by not doing those kind of things. And I think the difficulty for me is just doing this job for so many years. It's well, I write first and foremost, and then I use Twitter in conjunction with that to get the word out, just in piecemeal about little things that are going on. And then we do the podcast, and now I have the newsletter. And Instagram and other social media stuff just seems to be the last thing I consider and the easiest one not to do. But I'm really going to try to change that. So hold me accountable. And hey, Gen Z, if you have any tips for me, I'm more of a Gen X kind of dude, help me out because I do get frustrated pretty easily. I'm not an old man, but I'm not a young man either.
Yeah, it describes me way too well. I think I am just an old man, though. I'm not nearly cool enough to be hanging around in this podcast, and yet still somehow you guys let me do it from week to week. All right, Sam.
I like the idea. I know he's not Gen Z. He's technically Gen Alpha, but I want Harry to help you out with this.
Yeah,
Gen Alpha. That's what the next one is. Gen Alpha.
We're going back around now, but we're going to Greek letters.
Yeah, I think Harry's probably from a generation that hasn't even really been given a name yet. He's probably even post alpha.
Beta.
Nobody
wants to be Gen Beta. That's not.
I was gonna say, do we really have to go with alpha and beta in 2023, or whatever year it is now, 2024? What a we've heard enough of those terms, it feels like, over the last few years.
Who knows? But it will be not too long before certainly my son is doing laps around me with that kind of thing. But he's not even 3 years old yet, so still a little time in which I can destroy him in terms of social media functionality.
This is the year you get reps.
Yeah, exactly.
He's going to go exponentially quicker and catch up to you on IG at some point.
Yeah.
This is the year you need to build the reps yourself.
Yeah, I'll be in middle school taunting him about how I have more followers than him. I'm looking.
All right, Sam, who do you plan on taunting and trying to beat up as a small child?
Well, I don't know if I'll quite put it that way, but one of my goals this is a personal goal for me this year, and I know it's a goal of a lot of people, is to increase the amount of trips you go on and to get out to new places. So for me, that's going to be add a West Coast trip this year. We expanded the MLB Pipeline Game of the Month last year. We went a little bit further into the South with places like Louisville and Nashville and Biloxi and Amarillo, Texas. The West Coast is a place we haven't been yet for those trips, and I want to hit at least one of them, one spot on the West Coast. And I'm not talking is El Paso the West Coast? That's obviously not true. Let's go all the way to the Pacific in some way. There are a lot of good teams out that way, a lot of good prospects. Places I haven't seen yet before. You know, one of my dreams is to someday go on a Northwest League road trip, start in Oregon, work my way north, finish in Vancouver. I think that would be really gorgeous, you know, especially in the late summer. I don't know if we're going to do that as a game of the month type deal, but let's at least get out there and bring that product out west. So my guarantee to you in some way is that we will be on the West Coast, whether it's myself, one of the other MLB Pipeline team members. I want us to get out there next year. So that'll be the next extension of the Pipeline Game of the Month.
I like that. That seems like a fun one as well. All right, who's up next?
Our next contribution, speaking of members of the MLB Pipeline team, is Jim Callis, who I believe we had on as a guest.
We did.
Where we worked together, which was a lot of fun. Tyler, I can't remember exactly what the debate was, but it was a debate over who had the best pitching farm system in baseball. Because you wrote the story and I edited it. And
you did. You changed it from the White Sox. I put the White Sox as number one, and you changed it to Atlanta because I kept saying the Atlanta employee Sam Dykstra will take over for next segment of the Show Before the Show podcast. Yeah, that's I wanted to get the people talking, Sam, and I was overruled by your dictatorial ways.
Yeah. Well,
but then I'm pretty sure that Jim agreed with you. That he was like,
I think he did. I think
the White Sox.
And now we're coworkers. So look at that.
Yeah, that should be one of your resolutions, is to be less dictatorial.
Yeah, Sam.
No, they're my resolutions.
Yeah.
Louise.
We call him the Sam Authoritarian.
I will dictate my resolutions how I wish. Thank you.
More like Sam dictate Dykstra.
No, that's a road you don't want to go down.
It didn't work at all.
Be very careful.
Jim Callis, your resolution, sir.
Happy New Year to everyone. This is Jim Callis from MLB Pipeline. And my resolution, what I want to see happen in 2024 is I think we have a potentially special year in terms of debuts. And I want Major League teams to make this happen. On opening day, I want to see Jackson Chourio and Junior Caminero and Evan Carter and Colton Cowser. And if not on opening day, then early in the season, I want to see Jackson Holliday and Jordan Lawler and Pete Crow Armstrong. I want to see the potentially special top of the 2023 draft class, Paul Skeens and Dylan Cruz and Wyatt Langford. I want to see them in the big leagues pretty quick. And maybe we have to wait a little bit, but I'm hoping we see James Wood and Jackson Merrill, Marcelo Meyer as well. I could go on and on and on, but that's my resolution for 2024.
It is very cool that we get to work with Jim Callis and Jonathan Mayo and those guys now. It's pretty awesome. I remember running into Jim at an Arizona Fall League game way back in the Pipeline / MLB era. We were kind of we were two ships passing in the night, and Jim said, I really wish that we did a lot more together because I love the work that you guys do. And now we get to do all that, which is very fun. So big thanks to Jim for stopping by. All right, resolution number 3. You guys each went with kind of personal minor league baseball resolution. So I'm going with my last one, which is my own personal resolution, which is I want to finally attend the Brooklyn Cyclone Seinfeld night in 2024. That has been on my minor league baseball bingo card since they started doing Seinfeld night. My best friend from here, Nate Kreckman, is the thing that we bonded over most in our lives when we became friends early on with Seinfeld. And Nate and I last year, after we talked Seinfeld night on the show, I sent Nate a text and I was like, hey man, we got to make this happen next year. We gotta do a thing where we make the trip and we hang out with, Billy Harner of the Brooklyn Cyclones, who came on the show to talk about Seinfeld night. And we gotta actually make this Seinfeld night thing happen. So that is my resolution. 2024. I want to be there for Seinfeld night. And that's happening. Oh, this is happening.
Are you expecting special treatment when you do this? Like you using some ins and just getting whatever premium bobblehead they have? Or are you going to be a man of the people and line up all the way down, this huge line wrapping around Surf Avenue?
I think I want to be a man of the people. I don't think I want special treatment on Seinfeld night. I think it's a democratized event in the minor league baseball world. I'll wear my puffy shirt and my black 90s jeans. I'll get some white high top sneakers. I'm not doing the Elaine dance. I'm not going to do that because I wouldn't even fit in the cadre of fantastic dancers that they had last year who took part in that. But yeah, I think I just want to hang out with all my fellow nerds while we await the bobblehead. I don't even know what the bobblehead will be next year, but I'm excited just in anticipation of it.
Yeah, or just a bunch of dudes who are going to wait in line just to flip it on eBay later.
Well, yeah, that's true.
You're like, what? I don't care about Seinfeld. I'm just going to sell this thing for $150.
All right, well, maybe I am going to try to get some special treatment.
Obviously, a bit of gatekeeping, but like you should be able to answer a very first base Seinfeld question.
Yeah, that's I like that idea. Yeah, like you can only get the bobblehead if you are able to, like answer what did the lady ask George in the car in Central Park if it was his inside and it was an orthopedic back pillow. You have to know if orthopedic back pillow is the answer, then you get the bobblehead. If not, get to the back of the line because you're not flipping this thing on eBay. Gross.
Or go study. Go watch the
or go watch. That's a late one. That's like season 8. Go watch it. Go watch that. All right, Ben, you're up.
All right, yeah, well, we have been talking, Sam, well, both of us, you were talking about going to Brooklyn, Tyler. Sam was talking about making to the West Coast. I have a particular ballpark related travel goal this year, and that is go to a stadium in a professional context that I've never been to before. This is hard for me because I have been to every ballpark, active affiliated ballpark. 2023 was the first year in which I had nowhere new to get to. And that's going to be the case in 2024. No new affiliated ballparks are opening in 2024. I think, as this decade progresses, we'll see quite a few, later in the decade. But even though we cover mostly or pretty much all affiliated, I think there's some wiggle room with, a team that's a partner league team, Indy or Summer Collegiate. Maybe as part of a larger road trip where I'm visiting affiliated teams just to also swing by a partner league team that I've never been to. I don't know what that is, but I just want the experience again for the first time in a number of years of saying, wow, this is a new ballpark and learning as I go. Because I love, revisiting ballparks and been doing this long enough that in some cases I'm getting to a ballpark I haven't been to in a decade. So there's still a lot to, see and do and cover when I haven't been to a place in a long time, but I just want to, expand the territory a little bit and find a room in this season to visit a place that maybe is not affiliated, but falls under the larger umbrella of partner leagues and, see how that goes and see what we can do with that.
That's pretty cool. And I was just racking my brain for like what partner league, but I would really like to do. Sam was talking about the Northwest League road trip. I would really like to do a Pioneer League road trip where you make it up through Montana and Idaho, and I think that'd be a pretty cool one as well. All right, Sam.
That's such a beautiful area of the country. I've been to Pioneer League, when it was affiliated, but now speaking of the West Coast, we've got the Oakland Ballers in the Pioneer League as well as
the Bees.
Yeah, the Oakland Bees, as well as a to be announced team in the Pioneer League that will also play in the more Northern California type of region. So yeah, there's some new spots to visit out there for sure. And the Pioneer League is worth it. Hit up Great Falls, hit up Missoula, hit up
Billings,
Ogden,
Idaho Falls. Those are a lot of spots that I would like to stop. I think that'd be very cool.
The drives in between are often spectacular.
All right, Sam, number 3 from the dictatorial mind of Sam Dykstra.
Well, I actually want to circle back on what you said about going to the Cyclones game, because I like to imagine, you have 2 places to stay. You could stay with Ben or you could stay with me.
Right.
Or I know you have family in the New York City area, but let's keep this to us too. Like, come on now. We live in Brooklyn. And I like the idea of putting you in Prospect Park and just like a dog, just trying to decide who you're going to run towards between the 2 of us.
You're just both calling for me. Come on.
And then we post that on Ben's Instagram, and then we're
look at this.
There we go. Yeah,
we're accomplishing so many things.
Yeah, we gotta have some mashups of these.
Yeah, we could just do the show before the show podcast from Seinfeld night. I think that's the ultimate.
I think that'd be amazing, especially if it was on the calendar for whichever Seinfeld characters arrived that night. If they stopped by and do an interview, that would make it even better.
Yeah, the problem with that is such a huge event in its own right that it wouldn't be enough about us.
That's a good point. That's a good point. We need it all to be, the spotlight needs to be firmly focused on the three of us.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what this comes down to. We can do that as like an ancillary thing, but it's after our egos have been satiated. We need
Yeah.
someone to do
right.
the show before the show night at their ballpark. And yeah, and then we can entertain these other offers. Something like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyways, my third resolution, which is going to be very different, but it is kind of personal to my work, is one of the my favorite things that I've started the last few years are these pitching labs. That's what we call them, the MLB Pipeline pitching lab, talking to pitchers normally on the road, but maybe we expand that a little bit this year, do it over Zoom or something. But it's one of my favorite series to do because you talk to guys about the nuts and bolts, and you can see them get excited. I go back to talking to Jackson Jobe at the Arizona Fall League about his stuff, and his slider's always been really good, and kind of getting him on the record about why it's good, what he does to get that 3,000 plus RPM spin rate, and having him say like, "Hey, listen, I know my fastball wasn't good. Here's what I'm doing to improve it." It's stuff that these guys are working on every day, and it's not just generic questions about like, what are your goals? What are you trying to do to get to the major leagues? It's literally getting in the dirt with them and trying to figure out what makes them tick as a pitcher. So not only just doing maybe more of those this year, but also expanding some ways into hitting. Hitting is also a science. In some ways, it's the most difficult science in all of sports. It's not as easy to break down of like, there's not a slider version of a swing or something like that, but these guys are always working on their bat path or their approach at the plate, what that looks like. There's many other ways we could get into the weeds with players on that as well. So I think one of the best opportunities that this job allows me is getting guys one-on-one and getting to talk to them. It's not just watching on video, it's hearing them break it down. I did something like that from the fielding side last year with Cedon Rafaela at spring training, just taking video and having him take me through his thought process and physical process on making catches. I would like to expand that more and just get into the nitty-gritty of baseball with guys and get their thoughts on what makes them such good prospects, because that access to this stuff with data is better than ever, but nothing beats getting it from the person themselves. So expanding that is going to be a goal of mine in 2024.
All right, you guys. I have one silly resolution, and we can save it for after our next contributor, if you would like. But I do have one fun one, which is kind of related to something that Sam actually posted on the internet.
Let's save that first.
Okay, I like it,
because we're going to each do wild card.
Oh yeah, we got a wild card resolution.
So that could be your wild card resolution.
Okay, good. I was going to use yeah. I'll slot that in.
Yeah,
because it's way more fun.
So we'll throw it next to another member of the MLB.com/MLB Pipeline team. Somebody we've worked with for a while now. I believe he's been on the show before. It's Rob Terranova,
the bread man.
Hi, I'm Rob Terranova, and I'm a writer and producer for MLB.com and MLB Pipeline. And my minor league baseball related New Year's resolution for 2024 is, and this is a big one, but you know what they say, shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you're amongst the stars. So really hoping that's what happens here. But my resolution for 2024 is to accompany Ben Hill on one of his minor league road trips. I know, big ask. Who do I think I am? But I'm taking my shot this year. I know that his road trips are always really successful, really fun, really interesting. A lot of good stories come out of it, a lot of good friendships, relationships, history. There's just so much that goes into minor league baseball, a lot of untold stories. Ben gets that opportunity. Of course, there's the designated eater element. I'm not putting my hat in the ring, but I'm also not doing that, so maybe that's something that we can discuss. But 2024, one of Ben's Biz's epic minor league road trips. Sam, Ben, what do you say? Let's make it happen.
Big thanks to Rob Terranova, who has to ship us all bread. Rob's family, for those who don't know, they are the owners of Terranova Bakery at Little Italy in the Bronx, Arthur Avenue in New York City. And Rob, a couple of years ago around the holidays, just sent me this giant bag of Terranova Bakery bread. And I have thought about, he sent me like a loaf that had olives in it, and it was, I used it with some like olive oil that we brought back from Italy. I've thought about it probably every day for the last like 2 years since Rob mailed me some bread. So in case you were wondering why Ben called him the bread man, he really is. It's a legend. It's a legendary place.
Yeah, and he brings that bread to the office. You know, me having celiac disease, I can't eat it, and it looks amazing. Everyone else around me raves about it. He said that, you know, his family looked into gluten-free Terra Nova brand bread, but they just couldn't get it quite right. Couldn't get it the level of quality that the Terra Nova name implies, which I respect, but
Yeah, that's kind of
let's
cool,
go.
actually.
Get it to that level of quality, Rob, in the Terra Novas. I want some gluten-free bread from your bakery in 2024. Bonus.
Bonus goal for somebody else.
Yeah, for somebody else to do. Make it happen.
All right, you guys. So we go for our wild card resolutions, and I am gonna kick it off. And I'm actually sort of worried that I'm stealing Sam's, but I don't think I am. I think this is more of a throwaway thing that you posted online, but it was a thought that I had, and now I'm just gonna make it all my own. My wild card resolution in 2024 is I would like for a minor league baseball team, in the spirit of the Pop-Tarts Bowl, to create an edible mascot, preferably for the show before the show night, that the three of us can crush. Sam threw this out on Instagram the other day and said that he would dress up as an actual edible Montgomery biscuit if the Montgomery biscuits wanted to go that route. But there are so many different, look at all the food options that we have across minor league baseball now. I'd go, you know, crush an edible garbage plate mascot. I'd go, you know, I'd eat the asparagus in Stockton. I think there are so many ways that we could go with this.
Yeah, Mr. Celery would be.
Yeah, Mr. Celery.
We'd have to find the biggest celery in the land. But
now, here's the question: could we bring peanut butter to put on the celery so it's like actually delicious, rather than just like, oh, this is just like weirdly congealed water?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want in this scenario. I mean, blue cheese, peanut butter,
Ooh,
whatever you want.
too.
But, you know, I think the logistics of edible mascots are tougher than they look. I mean,
oh yeah, I would imagine. That does not seem like an easy thing to just be able to piece together. And I think the team of scientists that the people at Pop-Tarts must have had working on that thing, like there's no way that that's easy, but that's not for us to figure out. I'm sure somebody in the Montgomery area has thought, what if I made a biscuit, but it was like human sized?
yeah, but then if a human has to get in well, whatever. Yeah, there's
we'll figure this out.
Yeah,
Sam's just staring off into space, trying to calculate this in his brain. Anyway, that's my wild card one. I want to eat a mascot now.
I'm just trying to think, like, would the biscuit be worn around the waist, or would it be like flat? It like encompasses your body, and people just come up and like grab a piece of you while you're going around. I don't know. I want to find out. I sincerely want to find out.
There's a lot of different ways we could go with this.
Yeah, or there's like the Corpus Christi honey chicken biscuits.
It's all exciting. Oh yeah, the honey butter chicken biscuits. Yeah, from Whataburger. I'm very into that.
I was going to say sponsors already involved in that one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so exactly. Yeah, Whataburger.
Bigger biscuit.
Yeah, I'm married to a Texan now. She's obsessed with honey butter chicken biscuits. My wife. So I would like to get in on that. This is something. Okay. I'm making a list. I'm going to make some power rankings of what the most delicious edible mascot would be. All right, Ben, you're up.
All right, for a wild card, I mean, I'll move away from the world of minor league baseball or the professional realm. But this has been on my mind lately. And again, I'm saying it out loud to make myself accountable because it's something I've thought about in the past doing. But I love the annual, polar bear plunge at Coney Island. This year, Dykstra himself came by and was part of the group that joined in. And it's just a fantastic experience getting in the water to start the year. It's frigid, but you feel just energetic and refreshed. And I live a short Q train ride from Coney Island. I live closer to Coney Island than I do, to this office that I work in Manhattan. So there's no reason I can't keep getting to Manhattan or to Coney Island throughout the year, which I do for other occasions. Anyway, it's a long build up to say this. I'm going to get in the water at Coney Island once a month. I already did it in January, with the polar bear plunge, but I'm getting in the water in February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. I mean, the summer months kind of speak for themselves, but just to have this kind of year-long little set of experiences of just experiencing the water through every month of the year sounds really appealing to me and just gets me out to the beach and in the cold weather months gives me that energetic feeling. Although if I'm going alone in some of these scenarios, which I probably will, it's probably feels a little more grim than invigorating when you're all alone and just stripping down to a bathing suit in frigid weather and getting it in, and there's no one to cheer you on. But I'll deal with that. I'm getting in the water in 2024 every month of the year. And another little bonus I'll throw in real quick is I've already told Sam this, but to beat Sam Dykstra at Candlepin Bowling for real. At the holiday party, there was they weren't regulation size, but there was these kind of portable candlepin lanes at the holiday party, and we played a game, and I did horrible, and Sam did pretty well. As a Massachusetts guy, it's a Massachusetts thing. Then over the Christmas break, I got to go candlepin bowling in Massachusetts because Jill, my fiance, is from that part of the area, and I again did not do well, but I just love everything about it. I've always loved, quote unquote normal bowling my whole life. I found that the skills from normal bowling to candlepin do not translate, but I really enjoy candlepin bowling, and I want to beat Sam. So first of all, we have to make a plan to actually go candlepin bowling at least once. It's a little tricky. I don't know what the closest one is in New York City.
That's what I was going to ask. Is there like an accessible one nearby?
Yeah, I don't know. We're going to look into this, and even if it's a little road trip, at least once, Sam and I
feel like there's got to be one in like the Hudson Valley or something like that. You can go to like a Renegades game and do some candlepin bowling.
We will look around, but I'm willing to make the effort, and I hope Sam is as well.
Too many duck pin. There's a lot of duck pin bowling places in Southwest Connecticut. We're gonna
what
is
duck pin bowling?
Duck pin is a little bit different. Duck pin is fatter pins,
but not as fat as like normal bowling.
No,
but fatter than candlepin bowling.
Candlepin's like it's like a candle. That's what it literally is. Like a tube. Duck pin's a little bit fatter, but also flat. And then regular bowling has the curves to it. We'll figure this out. I want this to happen so desperately. 2024.
To have me win?
No, I want this matchup to happen. I want this the humbling of Hill to happen.
Yeah. Well, I've been humbled. I was humbled at the Christmas party. I was humbled when I went on my own.
And the humblings will continue in 2024.
It's rough. I'm like, oh man, I just got a 1 and only hit 1 on the far right side of the lane. So now adjust. And then I'd hit just 1 on the left side of the lane. I was like, dude, come on. Let's go. It's frustrating. Anyway, not to go on a whole candlepin tangent, but it speaks to my core sensibilities, a game like that I find it appealing, and we'll make it happen.
All right, Samuel, your final resolution, the wild card pick for 2024.
Yeah, the wild card pick. And I think this ties in a little bit, or I'm going to make it tie in anyways. As in my job as a reporter, writer, journalist, podcaster, whatever, what I'm always trying to do is tell stories, even if it's through prospect rankings. And I think the medium that's really spoken to me the last few years has been movies. I love going to the movies. I'm going to the movies tonight. This is actually the third straight night I'm going to the movies, trying to catch up for Oscar season. There's a lot of good stuff that came out late in 2023, so I'm still catching up. I'm going to see Iron Claw tonight. Very excited to do that. My goal is going to be to see 50 new movies in 2024, not just like
a movie a week.
Yeah, so it's doable. There are certain parts of the year where that's not doable, but not a lot will be coming out or something interesting. But 50 new movies, not just like things I've never seen before, but movies that are coming out in 2024.
Oh, so this does not count. Like you could just go back on the Turner Classic Movies app and find a classic that you've never seen. This is all new releases.
Does this mean in the theater? 50 movies in the theater?
It can be, if something's released on Netflix, I'll count it. But it has to be something new.
Okay.
And I wanted to be researched and not just like, hey, Netflix dropped a new movie on Fridays like they sometimes do, and it's a random thing, and I'm doing this for an hour and a half just to check it off a list. I want to be interested in it some way, whether that's expanding to foreign movies, which can be obviously great. One of my favorite movies last year was The Taste of Things, which was a French movie.
It's about edible mascots.
It's about edible mascots in some ways. Sure. I saw Godzilla -1 this week. That's a Japanese movie, completely in Japanese. So
how was that? I heard that's awesome.
It's very good. It's
that's
really
what I heard.
It's I love the message of it. It lost me a little bit at the very tail end, but we can talk
tail
about
end.
The tail end.
Still a large tail. Yeah,
it's a very, very large tail.
I get it, Sam.
But I love what it did. It makes you focus on the people and not the roaring monster which is not usually how those movies go. So yeah, just expand that. And I think by doing that, and here's where it ties in, you're just opening yourself up to different modes of storytelling and what people are focusing on in 2024. What are the themes people seem to be drawn to? And turn that into my own writing and try to see like what's sticking, what I like that's working out there in movies, what I don't like, and bring it back, to the regular 9 to 5.
This is all leading towards Prospect Rankings, the movie.
The Prospect Rankings, the movie, which would be actually pretty boring, I think. I don't know if we could do a Moneyball.
Just shots of Sam sitting in his apartment, like, hang
Yeah,
on, look at his OPS plus.
The clip of Jonah Hill just being like, "So do you guys think this guy's 5th or 6th in your organization?" And when they say 5th, and that's what I had down, I just do the fist bump. Same way you did. That's what that would look like.
Yeah, just get Aaron Sorkin or somebody like that. Get a lot of crisp
Yeah.
dialogue.
Yeah,
deadline when
I need fast moving dialogue
overall prospect in the Blue Jay system, and I finally get one who I like, and I just celebrate around the office and look like a lunatic on August 1st. Sure, let's go with that.
Well, those are some good ones, and we also have a whole bunch of contributions from loyal the show before the show listeners and fans, but we also have one from a gentleman who you all know and love and recognize as Josh Jackson, the voice of Ghosts of the Miners. Is he our last one?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay. We always end with Josh.
We do. We have to wrap it up with Josh because we also have Ghosts of the Miners, but you're going to hear that a little while later. But Josh Jackson, the legend himself.
When you want your spring break to feel like, and your kids' pool day to feel like, and your hotel bed to feel like, ooh, and room service to feel like. Because at Hilton, hospitality feels like...
Your cabana's ready. Would you like fresh towels?
It matters where you stay. Book now at Hilton.com. Hilton, for the stay.
This is Josh Jackson, host of Ghosts of the Miners, and my resolution for the 24 season is to not sleep on those San Francisco Seals. In 22, I predicted the Los Angeles Angels would win the PCL title, and of course, Dots Miller's San Francisco club took the pennant. And last year, I went with Harry Wolverton's Seattle team, but the Seals pulled it off again. So my minor league prediction for 19 and 24 is that San Francisco seals a three-peat out on the coast.
The year 24 might not be the same 24 that we're living, but they were resolutions for the year 24 from Josh Jackson. It's a tumultuous time in Josh Jackson's world, obviously.
Yeah, I'll take the blame for that. When I sent around the email looking for submissions, I did say 24, and Josh took that in the way that only Josh can. So he fit the assignment. It was the assignment giver that screwed up there. So, but I'm grateful for Josh. Like that, we'll see if that comes through for the San Francisco Seals in the year of 24.
Yeah, I think it's a bold slate to lay out for this new year. And so with that, we have heard from those who you know and those who you are familiar with from the podcast, and it's time to hear from all of you as well as the 2024 minor league baseball season is upon us. Sam, Ben, we got a whole bunch of contributions from listeners and obviously from people who follow you guys on social media and such. Ben, where are we going? What's the easiest and best and brightest way to kick off our listener/follower resolutions?
Yeah, well, let's start. Sam was mocking me because I printed these out. He's like, "Oh, wow, printed out like an old man." But yeah, I have them printed out, and right at the top,
Dictator Dykstra.
Yeah, exactly. He shamed me for just not using a screen like all the younger generation does, but I have them printed out right here, and right here on top is Paul Caputo, who has appeared on this podcast when we highlighted, listeners of the show. He is the host of the Baseball by Design podcast. Big logo head, minor league logo fan, and chronicler, and also, especially if you follow him on Twitter, he is a minor league baseball ice cream helmet Sunday enthusiast and has a huge collection of ice cream helmets. So he said, my goal this year is to try at least 20 different flavors of ice cream in helmets, of course, at different minor league baseball ballparks. And then I wrote back and said, okay, 20 different flavors. Does this mean you can only do one flavor at a time? Do you have to hit 20 ballparks to do this? And he said, no. For instance, if the Corpus Christi Hooks serve 2 flavors and 1 helmet on opening day, I'm 10% of the way there. But importantly, if a ballpark only has chocolate and vanilla, and I've already had those earlier in the season, I don't cross any off the list that day. So I need to take advantage of any unusual flavors I come across when I find them. And I'd say, Paul, you sure do. I don't pay attention to ice cream at ballparks like a ton, but you usually don't find a, Baskin Robbins type array. It's usually the basics. So whenever you go someplace that deviates beyond vanilla, chocolate, maybe strawberry, you really need to pounce on that.
I'm a cookies and cream guy.
You can find some cookies and cream at a
Yeah,
minor.
you probably could.
Are we counting Dippin' Dots as ice cream?
That was going to be my follow-up to the follow-up, and I didn't, but I don't think we're counting Dippin' Dots yet.
I don't think it's part of the Paul Caputo brand.
Yeah, it's like its own specific brand. I feel like Paul sticks with tried and true, scoop or soft serve.
Dippin' Dots would just be a great way of knocking off some flavors, though. So if you're like at 17, come late August, I would consider changing.
That's true. That's true.
I want updates on this, Paul.
Do they still call it ice cream of the future? Have they finally? I feel like Dippin' Dots has made a pretty successful maneuver to where now everybody calls it Dippin' Dots. Because for so long, it was just known as ice cream of the future. And then it became Dippin' Dots. Do they even have that branding anymore?
I'm not sure. I still associate it with that tagline.
Yeah, same.
At a certain point, you have to say, when's this future that Dippin' Dots have replaced ice cream?
Well, that's the great thing.
Exactly. Like I remember seeing it labeled as ice cream of the future at like the first Rockies games I ever went to in 1993. Like that's, when was if you would have asked me back then, when is the future? I'd have been like, well, in the 2000s, obviously. So now it's just Dippin' Dots. Now we're living in the future. Maybe we should call other ice cream the ice cream of the past.
I'm going to sit on that one. I'm trying to think of like what harder ice cream would be versus soft serve ice cream versus.
That's true. It's the evolution of ice cream. All
right,
Ben, who's up next?
No, Sam, you want to take one here?
Yeah, I'll take one. This one comes from Twitter at Grizzly Fanatic. So you can guess where this is going, but their goal for 2024 is to see one of the Southern California League teams when the Grizzlies are in town. That would be the Fresno Grizzlies, of course. I've seen all the Northern ones, plus the Rawhide from Visalia. I want to hit at least one more California League team this year. So the teams in the South, Inland Empire 66ers, Lake Elsinore Storm, Rancho Cucamonga Quakes, and Visalia Rawhide, which we already said they've knocked off. So either Inland Empire, Lake Elsinore, or Rancho Cucamonga, go down to see them when Fresno is playing there. I love that because it's obtainable, but it's something new at the same time. And I'm sure for a lot of folks out there listening, there's a minor league team kind of near you that you want to see. So go out and make your plan now. Pick the weekend to go see them. That's the great thing about the 6-day schedule is that you can kind of plan this stuff out well in advance, and that team will be in town for a while. But start your plans now. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. And in Fresno, they're still relatively new to the California League after so many years in the PCL. So that did give their fans, as much as it was frustrating or disappointing, to drop several levels of play, it did open up that kind of opportunity of visiting new places and seeing places in the California League. So that's a great one from the Grizzly Fanatic, but a great one, like Sam said, for people to apply to whatever their own local minor league team is and travel outward from there.
All right, y'all. Well, I have one from a contributor who is a fan after my own heart. He is at X Dan Brown, I'm assuming on the social media platform formerly known as Twitter. And Dan says, quote, I collect MILB hats when I'm out of town working. I want to add another 15 hats to the collection in 2020. That is my kind of minor league baseball fan. At X Dan Brown, if you do add those 15, please send them to us because I would love to know about the trips and the hats and what made you buy them and all that. Are you a fitted guy? Are you a dad hat kind of guy? I want to know all these details.
Yeah, and I believe that was Instagram, even though I failed to mark it on the sheet.
Okay. Even better. That's perfect. Then find me on there at Tyler Mon PXP and send me a picture of the hat. I want to see the hat collection.
Yeah, and that means there'll be a lot of travel for the X Dan Brown in 2024 because he says he does this when he's out of town working. So to add 15 hats to the collection means quite a lot of out of town work. to get that many hats. But stay in touch with Tyler, ex Dan Brown.
Do you think that's the Da Vinci Code author?
No, yeah, well, it used to be. Now he's ex Dan Brown.
Exactly.
He's not Dan Brown anymore.
Yeah.
We got so many good submissions. Ben, you want to take another one?
Yeah, I'll grab one. Well, I'll take one here. I added a little parenthetical, but I think it's one that we would have maybe skipped over, except I was able to discern the context. Alan Moody on Instagram wrote, to give out more golden sombreros for the Walk of Shame in Hickory. And so if you just see that, you're like, what? But I happen to know Alan because when I visited Hickory in 2021, I believe, and he was one of the primary members of a rooting section at Hickory Crawdads games. It's led by Mega Man, and it's Mega Man and his minions. So Alan Moody's one of the, I guess, head minions in the Mega Man and his minions rooting section. And so one of the things they do is, they have a walk of shame chant and signs and cheers, for guys who strike out and opposing players who strike out. And the golden sombrero, he wants to see more of that. Guys getting the golden sombrero and doing their walk of shame back to the visitors' dugout as they root for their Hickory Crawdads. So just love fan enthusiasm and all the rituals and routines that hardcore fans add to make their experience more fun. And you definitely can find that at Hickory Crawdads games with Mega Man and his minions and guys like Alan Moody.
That is really cool. Hickory is a place that I would very much like to go see a game as well in 2024 or beyond. I'd join in on that. I'd join in yelling some, at least constructive and playful cheering things at
you got to keep it light.
Yeah, got to keep it light and fun.
Yeah. A fun fact about Hickory is the ballpark was built across 2 different counties, and one of the counties was like a dry county, and so they had to get some special dispensation initially to sell beer on that side of the ballpark.
Oh man, that is amazing. I honestly thought you were going to say like they can only sell beer from like midway down the first baseline over to the third base.
Well, I think if they hadn't gotten this special permission, that's what it would have been. Is like, nope, you crossed into the dry county of the ballpark.
And one of the clubhouses, there's no beer allowed.
Yeah, exactly. They would have to mow the outfield like one pattern at the county line and another pattern at the other county line. Just fans
behind section 202, something like that.
That would be amazing. I want to jump in and grab this one real quick because it's from @Leroyd. And it is to meet at Ben's Biz and be a designated eater. I would like to do those things too. I think being a designated eater would be fine. I've met Ben before. I think it'd be super fun to be a designated eater.
Yeah, I love when people have enthusiasm for it. Tyler, the job is yours when we next cross paths at a ballpark.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Leroy David is a Sacramento area guy, and he has been a great follower of my work, but also all of us together, the show before the show. Great artist. When I came out with the initial set of Ben's Biz insert cards in the Topps Pro debut a number of years back, he took the time to track down everyone in that set and get autographs, and he did some of his own artwork based on those, and he's done artwork for the San Francisco Giants. Anyway, very engaged and kind minor league baseball fan who I do want to cross paths with on the road, and good reason to get back to Sacramento.
All right, Sam, our last fan contribution of our 2024 resolutions episode. The honor is yours.
Yeah, this one comes from @Mapping the Path. My MLB-themed goal is to do my most ambitious road trip yet with my dad, 22 ballparks in 22 days across the eastern Midwest. That's Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, Illinois, Wisconsin, including all 14 minor league teams in those states, plus collegiate and indie ballparks and the Cubs. The trip starts June 15th. I love that.
Sounds awesome.
The fact that it's most ambitious road trip yet. I would hope so.
Well,
22 ballparks in 22 days.
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but @Mapping the Path has done this trip with his dad, or variations of it, for several years in a row, and goes real deep on documenting it, putting the itinerary together. So follow him on Twitter, Mapping the Path. But yeah, this will be the most ambitious yet. It's like kind of a Midwest trip this year, and starts with the Chicago Dogs in looking at the itinerary against the former Midwest League Kane County Cougars. But now that's the independent, is it Frontier League?
Believe so. Yes, I believe so. I also would just like to randomly point out, I was in Mexico last month, and they had an entire channel there that was just a baseball channel. It was not MLB Network, it was just a baseball channel. But at one point, I flipped past a game, and I was like, is this the Kane County Cougars on Baseball Latino right now? And it was, and I have no idea how that happened, but it was pretty amazing to see.
Yeah, and Sam just looked it up. We were wrong.
American
Not
Association.
Frontier League, American Association. Yeah.
Those two have such similar footprints, or have traditionally, historically. It's an easy mistake for us to make. We got some great other resolutions in there, some really cool stuff, from fans who want to explore more in minor league baseball. One guy, Brad _ Queso on Instagram, said he wants to praise lesser known players more. Great stories that don't get love because players aren't prospects necessarily. One person responded and said, remind myself that not every team can have Francisco Alvarez and I should enjoy every second. I agree. I think that's very cool. It's not exactly prospect related anymore now that he's graduated, but it's very cool. Pretty neat to see people laying out some very admirable goals in 2024.
Yeah, Eric the Peanut Guy, Eric Mertens with the Tri-City Dust Devils, longtime friend of the show. He said one of his goals is to not miss a single Tri-City Dust Devils game. I mean, he's been the on-field MC / peanut vendor since the beginning of the franchise, but he said only twice has he not missed a single game, and that's a goal for this year. And, that's harder than ever once they went to full season, in 2021. So that's a lot of games to have a perfect attendance record. But Eric, if there's one person who can attend every Tri-City Dust Devils game, it'd be you, a man who has his own life-size bobblehead on the concourse of the stadium in which you work. You can get to every game.
So in some ways, he does attend.
Yeah, so he's always there.
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, really,
you can always see Eric in one form or another. And just to loop back to what Tyler was saying earlier, that bobblehead of Eric is not edible. So please leave the bobblehead.
No, he is not an edible mascot.
Yeah.
But it would be if he was made out of peanuts. He calls himself Eric the Peanut Guy. If it was made out of peanuts, how fitting would that be?
You're right.
The wheels are spinning.
Things are in motion.
Let's make this happen somehow.
All right, you guys. We heard from our good pal Josh Jackson from 1924 just a little while ago. And now it is once more time to hear from our good pal Josh Jackson, who swings by for Ghosts of the Minors next.
It's football season, and you can now get almost anything you need for game day delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Well, you can't get a running back delivered, but you can get baby back ribs delivered. A strong defense? No. A strong deodorant? Yes. A six-pack of abs? Nope. Six-pack of beer? Yes. Get almost anything for game day delivered with Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Alcohol 21 plus and in select cities. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
We interrupt this podcast to bring you another thrilling edition of Ghosts of the Minors. Now, here's your correspondent and host, Joshua Jackson.
Welcome back to Ghosts of the Minors, in which all of you out there in Radioland must identify the legitimate historical ball club or player hiding amidst the fraudulent pair. One once tried to pile up W's all season long. The other has never won or lost a single game. In the last segment, I asked you which of the following minor league baseball teams did at one time exist. A, the Lancaster Fultons. B, the Pawtucket Slaters. C, the Dearborn Buicks. There's no need to clear the slate if you picked B, the Pawtucket Slaters, who were an affiliate of the Boston Braves in the New England League in the late 1940s. The club was named for Industrial Revolution era industrialist, or, if you prefer, Industrial Revolutionist, Samuel Slater, who in 1793 partnered with Moses Brown to open the Slater Mill in Pawtucket, spinning a new course for the American textile industry. The Slaters of the Diamond suited up for their inaugural season right along with the rebirth of the New England League, once a staple of late 19th century pro ball and a circuit that existed intermittently in various forms of professionalism into the start of World War II. When those guns across the globe fell silent, the minors began to boom in 1946. The New England League was back, and Pawtucket had its first minors team since the 1915 Pawtucket Rovers roved around the outlaw Colonial League. The textile industry-inspired Slaters were cut from a different cloth than those old Rovers, who were 37 and 57 in their last season. The new team in 46 reeled off 4 straight years of winning records and playoff appearances, collecting a pile of victories so big that Ma didn't know what to do with it except have Pa tuck it into a trophy case. The clean slate Slaters of 46 went 70 and 54, but as the Sporting News reported, they did take a big loss on August 8th when the United States' Veterans Administration's office in Boston ruled that minor league ball players in the Braves and other systems were employees, not trainees of a big league club, which meant 8 Pawtucket players who had served in the war were the first batch of minor leaguers to lose their GI Bill-funded on-the-job training pay. That financial setback didn't stop the Slaters from hitting taters. Yes, the Slaters were regular old run platers, getting great hitting from shortstop Jimmy Coughlin. Coughlin, whose draft card lists him at 5 feet 7.5 inches, and whom newspapers never failed to describe as physically small, made a big impact with Pawtucket. By the time he'd arrived with the team, he was a veteran in 2 senses. Jimmy was inducted into the Army in November of 42. But by that point, he'd already played a couple seasons with Boston affiliates in the Pony League and the 3I League. Come the 46 postseason, not the experience of 137-pound Jimmy Coughlin nor the full weight of the Slaters roster could contend with Nashua, New Hampshire's Dodgers, who were managed by Walter Alston and headlined by integrating legends in the making Roy Campanella and Don Newcomb. There's no shame in taking a playoff loss to a great club, but the Slaters might have etched that lesson too firmly. Pawtucket lost to Nashua again in the first round of the 47 playoffs, then again in the first round of the 48 playoffs. In 49, the Slaters got a Triple Crown campaign from outfielder Bob Montag and finally didn't lose to the Dodgers in the postseason. But that's only because they didn't play them. Instead, the Springfield Cubs gobbled them up. During that 49 season, though, the New England League began to fall apart, losing the Providence Grays, Manchester Yankees, the Fall River Indians, and the Lynn Tigers by the end of July. When 1950 came around, the New England League didn't. And that's how the Slaters were wiped clean. Now, on to the question for next time. Which of these players did his best to stay grounded in the minors of yesteryear? A. Edward Worm. B. Edward Edgehog. C. Edward Diggins. Want to know the answer? Go soil yourself. Or tune into the next Ghosts of the Minors. But for now, you'll have to excuse me. My producer Ben Hill is still ringing in the new year, and I've got to hide his bell.
Final segment of this week's first 2024 edition of the Show Before the Show podcast. We got nothing. Goodbye.
We got a whole season ahead. I mean, we have a whole year ahead now.
We do.
Yeah.
It is kind of nice. When we logged in, Ben and I were talking about the first week in January is such a once Christmas, when I'm done eating food on Christmas, I'm like, oh, cool. Now I just get to be miserable until opening day. But really, pitchers and catchers report in just over a month. We're gearing up. We got a whole year of baseball in pretty short order.
It'll come up before we know it, and I'll have that sense of anticipation and anxiety but before you know it. But we have nothing really for the final segment. But one thing I wanted to suggest, Sam, the human jukebox Dykstra, I would like the final segment just to be a weekly sing a song with Sam Dykstra, where our listeners suggest a song, and then
everybody can see Sam's face right now.
Sam sings it to end the podcast because he knows pretty much the Great American Songbook and then some.
Where are you getting this
and
from?
He has
I've never sang in front of you in my life.
He's a wonderful singing voice. And
it's mellifluous.
Yeah, it's very mellifluous.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little sample?
No, I can't because I'm not prepared this
A little
week.
sample. If it's from Inside Llewyn Davis, wouldn't you belt it out?
Yes, I would, but that's if people want to put in requests for Oscar Isaac songs from Coen Brothers movies, we can do that. But
okay, don't think that we won't have people do it.
I've never heard you sing.
I've never been in a choir. I did band over chorus in high school. This is going to be I will say we might get some suits out of this because people might hear it and be like, "You butchered the song so poorly that I have no choice but to sue for you singing my song on a podcast." But that's all right. That's the danger we'll take.
Sam, I just want you to know that Toni Braxton was discovered while pumping gas at a gas station. She was singing to herself, and a record executive heard her and was like, "Your voice is incredible." And then she became literally Toni Braxton. So just because you haven't been in a choir, just because this hasn't happened yet, doesn't mean that this is not the launching pad for the next stage of your career.
That is a very nice story, and
You're
congrats to
welcome.
Toni Braxton on all of her
You are
success.
welcome.
I am no Toni Braxton.
Not with that attitude, Sam.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. So get in touch with all the songs that you would like to hear Sam sing. Maybe Ben can join in, do a little harmony. But
be the backup.
I think it's a
I'll be
good
the
way
bass
for us,
guy.
to close every episode.
Yeah.
Ben can be the guy in like Crash Test Dummies that goes,
Yeah. Once. Yeah, that's a great song. Listen to that song if you haven't heard it for a while. The lyrics are deeply bizarre.
Or you can be
so weird.
The guy in Mighty Mighty Boss Tones who his only job is to dance.
Yeah, I can handle that job. Rash about.
See, we're going up with new things are percolating here on the Show Before the Show podcast. We're going to cross a bunch of brave new frontiers in 2024. And for those dudes in New York City and the rest of our staff, huge thanks everybody for stopping by. For Benjamin Hill, Sam Dykstra, Josh Jackson, and all the rest. My name is Tyler Mon. Happy New Year. We'll catch you next week.
Quiet, Eddie. Well, shh.